Welcome to Alberta Impact. I'm your host, Bryce Lambert. Alberta has been called many names over the years, from the dirty oil province to being described as the embarrassing cousin that nobody wants to talk about. There's definitely nobody like that in my family. Wait a second. If I think there's nobody like that in the family, does that mean that I'm the one that's the embarrassing cousin? I better make some phone calls. Despite all the name callings, let's briefly look into our current environmental initiatives and why we are one of the leaders in this category. When you look at Alberta's environmental record and the policies that govern this industry, we stack up favorably against jurisdictions from around the world. Now, this was a study that was conducted by Worley Parsons in conjunction with the Canadian Association of Petroleum Producers, who compared our environmental policies, laws, and regulatory systems with 9 other oil-producing jurisdictions. The 3 key questions in this study to consider were, number 1, how comprehensive are the environmental laws? Out of the 9, Alberta has the second most stringent environmental law with our ongoing closure plans, reclamations, and remediations, and the costs associated with the regulatory applications. That's pretty amazing. Number 2, how easily can the public get information? We rank top of the class for the public's ability to access information on environmental performance of the industry and provide input into the regulatory processes. Number 3, which country has the rules to ensure compliance? No other jurisdictions match up to ours, with our whistleblower protection laws, penalties for non-compliance, and regulatory independence to enforce environmental rules. Alberta is the first jurisdiction in North America to legislate greenhouse gas emission reductions for large industrial emitters of 100,000 tons or more, and for smaller emitters who choose to opt in. Here's another crazy environmental stat about Alberta. We have invested $1.24 billion over the next 15 years in 2 large-scale carbon capture and storage projects. These projects include the Alberta Carbon Trunk Line, which is the world's largest carbon capture, transportation, utilization, and storage project that exclusively uses CO2 originating from human activities. That's right, guys. Finally, a solution to all of our gas problems. Our wives will be so happy. The other is the Quest Carbon Capture, who has safely captured and stored over 4 million tons of CO2. Now, with all of these innovative initiatives, is there any organization who recognizes and nurtures our environmental achievements? I'm going to answer that question for you tonight. My guest tonight works with one such organization right here in Alberta that does just that. They champion the innovators who are looking out for the environment. And we are excited to have him on the show today. We'll get everything set up to bring him in and have a great discussion about what these guys do and how they really help us put a real good picture and painting together of what the environmental initiatives are for this province. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Celebrating one another's achievements and encouraging others to push for a better solution is what drives more people and younger generations to come forward and share their ideas on the issues. And who knows, some of those ideas or the combination of them might be the answer to the problems and questions we have today. With me today is an association that champions innovators and by doing so is helping grow the Alberta initiatives on environmental achievements. Please welcome the Executive Director of the Alberta Emerald Foundation, Gregory Caswell. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So you guys have been around just about 30 years now?
Yeah, we're celebrating our 29th anniversary this year.
That is super awesome. And so give us a little rundown about what the Emerald Foundation is all about, how it kind of like is doing these great initiatives to push people to continue forward with the green initiatives.
You bet. Well, 29 years ago, we started the Emerald Awards. The mission of our foundation is to recognize and celebrate environmental achievements in our province. Yeah. We do so in the hopes to not only maybe alter the perception of Albertans and our relationship with the environment, which is typically not the most positive, but to create role models for others to follow their examples as well. So 29 years ago, we started the Emerald Awards, which recognize and celebrate environmental achievements across all sectors in the province. So there's 12 unique categories that we recognize in. And then out of that, we've actually created various programs. One specifically is the Sharing Stories Communication Strategy, where we look at ways to share the stories of our recipients out with the province in order to create that inspiration to encourage others to follow their examples. And then to carry on that inspiration, we have various youth grants that we distribute as well. On an annual basis, we distribute about 100 different grants to youth-led and youth-targeted environmental initiatives across the province.
Yeah. So what are some of the qualifications to kind of get into the, like, say, the Emerald Awards?
Yeah, you bet. So it is a nominations process. You can either nominate yourself or someone else can nominate you. So nominations are actually currently open. We just opened for the 29th year on November 1st.
Wicked.
And they'll be running through till February 14th. So you fill out the nomination online, and then we actually put all of the nominations forward to a third-party panel of judges. So the Emerald Foundation, we rely on others to select the recipients for us. So we have, I guess, no tie to it. Well,
right.
we do have a tie, but it's not us. It's a panel.
You're trying to keep it as transparent as possible, so there's no bias. It's an open panel, and absolutely, I understand.
Yeah, you bet. On an annual basis, we receive in between 75 to 100 nominations from all corners of the province. Yeah. And then the judges are, we task them with creating a short list that is announced at the end of March. And then in June, coinciding with Environment Week, we announce the recipients in each category.
Wicked, right on. And so these, like you got youth that are really involved, which is a really big thing as well. And a lot of this is about innovation. So, like, is it adapting current technologies or coming up with newer technologies, correct?
Yes, I guess it would all depend on which award is being recognized and what the project is. But there is definitely a requirement for our judges to look for innovation. And I think that, when I hear innovation, I think technology, and a lot of it can be technological advances. But I think innovation is also in regards to practices that are happening and maybe just different ways of approaching an issue or a subject. Some great examples just from this past year of innovation. University of Alberta was recognized for their Land Reclamation International Graduate School. And what's very important about that is that this is the only program of its type in the world.
Right.
And it's here in Edmonton, Alberta. And land reclamation is very important because it creates a relationship with the land where if we're drawing out resources from it, they can then go in and repair it and bring it back to a natural state of being. Other examples, Spud.ca, I'm a huge fan of theirs now. They're innovating the way that we do our groceries and the way that inventory is managed within a grocery store, I guess, but also finding unique ways to reduce the impact of us going to a grocery store and food waste and that sort of thing. So there's lots. We could also talk about renewable energy projects because that's definitely on the forefront of a lot of minds. But yes, there's a lot of innovation just in the way that we practice and have a relationship with the environment around us.
That's super cool. So being in this position, like, you can really get a really cool perspective on how things are really happening here. Like you said, like painting the picture of what kind of not really behind the scenes, but just what people aren't talking about. Because like the land reclamation is a really hot topic right now. It has been for quite a while. We got climate change that's coming up. Not coming up. It's here. People are really hammering on that, and you're really pushing forward on these people that are trying to make a difference that aren't talked about as much as they probably should be.
Yeah, you bet. I think just the regular news cycle will focus on the more negative because it creates more viewership, and we really do what we can. We regard ourselves as the good news storytellers for the environment in our province. And it is important to, especially in this time of climate change, and there's a lot of there's a lot of fear and I think a lot of desire from people to be able to take action in their own personal lives.
Yeah.
So by establishing these role models and giving them a platform that not only that they're recognized on, but they can also speak from and educate from, allows for not only to create the example, but also to empower others to follow that example.
Right.
So we do what we can throughout the course of the year as well. We recently just launched our Emerald documentary series.
Yeah.
So this is an opportunity to actually see a lot of these projects in action. Each of our recipients, except for one last year, participated in the documentary series, and each segment is 7 minutes of in-depth look behind the scenes of what each of these groups have done.
Yeah.
And then in January, we're actually launching our new podcast,
right.
Which is called What on Earth Can We Do? Learning from Alberta's Environmental Leaders.
Yeah.
To be vulnerable, I have this unique privilege of sitting in a position where I come in contact with all of these amazing environmentalists, but really at the end of the day, I kind of regard myself as a regular Albertan who doesn't really know what to do. Like I know that I want to do more. And so our purpose with the podcast is actually to take what I'm assuming is the mass majority of our population of people who want to do more but not know where to start, and invite them into the room to have a conversation with our recipients so that they can learn from their examples.
Super cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, and this giving that education, and that's what, the biggest fear, to alleviate some fear, is to give the education and to show people, things are being done, and there's people that are out there that are doing these things, and they're awesome people. And so, what about the growth? Like, you've been with the organization for a little bit now. I know you've taken over from a previous, but the kind of growth that you've seen. And the conversation, has it changed much over the years? Like we were in one position of where just, it's really cool to do and yada, yada, yada. But now it's kind of, I feel like it's becoming more of a need. It's like, oh no, we got to get on this. Can you tell me a little bit how you've seen the conversation, how your organization has seen that conversation shape?
Yeah, you bet. Well, it's kind of interesting because about a year ago, we sat down as a board, and because we are a not-for-profit charity as well, so we sat down as a board and really asked, are we still relevant? And then all of a sudden we realized, yes, we absolutely are. So I think that what's fascinating is just seeing how the conversation around the environment and climate change has changed. We went from a place where I think that there was a lot of denial or to a place where people are wanting to take action, and there's a lot of movement. I mean, it's exciting to be a part of that conversation.
For sure.
I think that also the way that we're looking at communicating with people has evolved as well. In the past, we definitely put a lot more effort into print media, and now we're looking at more digital and looking at documentary series, podcasts. And
more environmental.
More environmental. Yeah, well, we did have to sort of take into account how much are we printing to tell these stories, and is there a better way for us to do it? So always looking at ways so that we're also role modeling the behavior and inspiring others through actions that we're doing.
Yeah. What about the growth and participation?
So it has been interesting. There has been, I would say, definitely a change we recognized last year where I would say in earlier years we were receiving a lot from specific industries where, especially last year, we started to receive nominations from groups that we wouldn't normally hear from. So a lot before it was maybe the major businesses in the provinces, but now we're receiving nominations from places like Spud.ca, where they're a little bit more. They are considered a large business, but they have more of a grassroots feel to them.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I would say that, that's definitely a change.
So big industry is starting to take part.
A big industry has always taken part.
Right.
I would say that smaller industry is starting to
more
step to the plate. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. And so, now tell us a little bit about the youth initiatives that you've been putting together. Like, you've got a couple of other programs here, which, like the Echo Pitch.
Oh,
I'd love to hear more about the Echo Pitch.
Yeah, you bet. Well, it's Eco Pitch.
Sorry. Yeah.
So Eco.
Uninformed over here. Sorry.
No worries. So we have a whole segment of programming called Youth Grant. That is our Youth Grants program. So one is the Youth Environmental Engagement Grant program, where we hand out $100 $500 grants to youth-led or youth-targeted environmental initiatives. across the province. And we're already on track to do that this year. Within 3 months, we've received 50 applications that we've already approved.
No way.
Yeah, so it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And then we just started a new granting stream this year called the Emerald Educational Engagement Grant Program, which is actually tied into our Emerald documentary series. So what we do with that one is we ask youth groups from across the province, it could be a school, a community group, what have you, to binge watch our Emerald documentary series and then pitch to us an idea that's inspired by something that they saw in a video.
Okay.
And then they receive a $750 grant to make that happen.
Wow.
And then Eco Pitch, my favorite way to describe it is that it's our version of Dragon's Den, but with nicer judges and less money. But we're holding that with Norquest College in February.
Cool.
Applications are open right now on our website, and basically what we're having people do is put in their initial pitch of a project that they want to take on. And then each application is going to be reviewed by a youth panel, and the top 5 will be brought to Norquest College in Edmonton to pitch in front of a live audience. And the prizes for that one are quite a bit larger. So the first place prize is $3,000. Second place is $2,500. Third place is $1,500, and then there's 2 extra prizes for $1,000. So if you get to the final round, you're automatically going home with some money to make it happen.
Oh man, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So what do you classify as youth? Like, where's our age ranges on getting these, to initiate these people?
25 and under.
25 and under.
Yeah.
Wow, that is super cool. So do you go into some of the universities and things the high schools and whatnot to recruit or to spread the message?
Yeah, so I would say that probably the participants for EcoPitch will probably come from mostly high schools, but universities would be welcome as well, junior high. I would say that elementary, you might want to look at our other granting streams for that because you're going to be going against college students. Yeah.
Who knows, though? Who knows? There's some smart cookies out there. These generations are smart now.
Well, and one that, as I say that, one that definitely stands out, we have a youth award at the Emerald Awards, and one a couple years ago was a group of young people from Fort McMurray who, after the fire, started to plant the forest again and received tons of money from sponsors in order to do so. So I take it back. If you have an amazing environmental project at your elementary school, please come and participate in EcoPitch.
Yeah, you betcha. Well, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your organization, foundation's mandates and whatnot. And just, again, another positive outlook on what's happening here in the province, put together by people like yourself and groups like yourselves.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Absolutely, for sure. So there you have it. This was super insightful. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode. If you liked it, be sure to subscribe, check out our YouTube and Facebook channel, and don't go anywhere because we've got a great musical performance for you coming up right after the break. Ryan Lindsay, a name that's been buzzing around in the country music scene for a while, especially over this summer when he released his original song, Wild. According to Ryan, he once encountered a wolf in the wild who looked him right in the eyes, and that was when the moment Ryan realized that you live your life preparing for those moments that keep you alive. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Ryan Lindsay.
Sunrise shining off that 95 Jeep, burning down the road with the radio on. Got everything loaded, it's been packed for a week. Jonesing on a getaway for way too long. Your bare feet up on the dashboard, wind blowing through your hair. Oh, that gets me wild. Let's get out of town, have a little campfire and all night at the moon. Just you and me and the crickets at night, honey, now let's get wild. Cowboy coffee sipping, sitting by the shore. I love the way you dance with the northern lights. Got all the crickets and the critters begging for more. Just the two of us, 110 for the night. If it's been around the sun, moonlight on your skin, yeah, that gets me wild. crickets at night. Honey, now let's get wild. Campfire and I'll light up the moon. Just you and me and the crickets at night. Honey, now let's get wild. Let's get wild. Yeah.
That's Ryan Lindsay and his song Wild. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed tonight's episode. We have attached the links in the description below for our two guests tonight, so be sure to go and check them out. Also, don't forget to follow or like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more Alberta content. See you all next week.